This is the off season.
The voice in your ears is Perfect Purvis, and this is the off season. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about everyone in the community, sports, the world, whatever community you're in, how we can do more together. But nobody wants that. People don't want to do stuff together. And joining me today is guest host Gavin Campbell. Gavin, tell them a little bit about you and where you're from, why you're on here, and how we're connected.
I'm founder of 3D Football. I've been coaching in Europe for the last about 10 years. That was after about a 10-year stint in NCAA, Division I, Division II, and Division III. And one of the big things I've always been involved in is team effort sort of thing. The idea of it takes a village, that old cliche. So this was definitely something that kind of hit personally for me.
Let's jump right into it. You know, this is a topic that I want to talk about because it's my podcast. But what I want to talk about is we could do more together, but nobody wants to do that. I'm really talking about a lot of things that go on in Europe with, you know, the import community and the football players. So just getting into it, just so everyone understands the base of what I want to talk about is that there's a community here, especially like in Europe with us imports, former imports, you know, the football community in general. A lot of people are, you know, have their own projects going on, their own products that, you know, side hustles or starting a business or even, you know, starting a new team or something. And what they decide to become competition. A lot of these topics you'll see, I'm just getting stuff off my chest, is that you got guys who know each other, who are doing the same exact thing, and instead of doing it together, they decide to become competition. And when I say that, I'm mostly talking to, you know, a lot of these like personal trainers out here, recruiting agencies even, you know, people who want to be agents for players and teams, things like that, or people who are like running camps and, you know, want to do it their way, or they believe that they have the juice to make it different, when in actuality, a lot of people are just doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, I'm missing the main point. These damn podcasts that a lot of people are like randomly starting podcasts. And me personally, I'm upset y'all not asking me to be on your podcast because I could probably make it better than the crap that you're putting out there. But, you know, to each his own. I do have some people actually rocking with me on this podcast. But these are just a couple of things that we could be doing together. There's always ways to bring people in that you know. Even this podcast that I'm doing, I decided I want to do my own podcast. I'm not with any company, any group. This is just Perfect Purvis, unfiltered, talking about what I want to talk in the off season of football in Europe. But I still wanted people to rock with me. I still wanted to connect with people. I have up to like 15 different people from Europe that are going to be on my podcast at some point because I asked and they said, yeah. They said they wanted to do it and I put them on here. There's no like, oh, well, I don't want them to do this because I want it this way. No, I've opened it up to people that I know and people that I trust so that we all can have a platform and an opportunity. But that's not what is going on. Like, that's not a normal situation. I'm not trying to like say I'm totally different, but what I am saying is that we could do so much more if everyone was together.
I think you're hitting on a societal issue, though.
It is.
I think that people, let's get out of football for a split second, you know, because right. I've been in football since I was 6 years old. My dad was a football coach. The one reason I've been in football and the one reason I got into coaching was it's a chance to teach life to young men. Like, it taught me life. There was things that in tough times off the football field, you know, I drew from my experience on the football field. And that's why I got into coaching. It was a chance to impact kids in a way, or young men in a certain way, that like a positive way, be a positive kind of role model. And the thing is that I think society as a whole is kind of in that way. You know, the thing I always say, look, I hope every team across Europe, I know it's not possible, but I hope that every single team across Europe wins today, except for one team, the team I'm playing against. I don't want them to win. I'm just going to be, not because I'm rooting against them, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm rooting for my own team harder than I'm rooting for their team. But other than that game, I hope every team across Europe wins. Even though I know it's not possible, it's competition, right? There's got to be a winner and loser, and even if it's a tie, neither team won.
I hate ties; those are the worst.
Right?
I'd rather lose than tie. Right? I'll be honest.
I don't know about that. I like having a job, so I'd rather tie than. But
I'd rather get fired. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. Like, some things are more important than wins and losses to me. Like, I want to not know who won or lost. Like, I lost. I want
that's
one
of
feeling.
those life lessons from football, right? Is that there are winners and losers. Like, cut and dry, there is in NCAA and just about every league in Europe, there is a winner and a loser every day, right? Like, there is a winner and a loser every day. And so, and that's an important life lesson, that there's going to be winners and losers. But what you were saying, I'm with you. I've reached out. There's some people that I've reached out to when I started. I started 3D football back in 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, I was going to say 17 or 18,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And then I kind of took a break. My own life got away. There wasn't a huge interest in it. And I was running into a lot of the stuff you're talking about. Like, I would reach out, I was on scholarship as a long snapper. And we're talking back in 2006, 7. Mm-hmm. There weren't a lot of D2s out there giving scholarships to long snap. And I have a certain skill set. And I've reached out to various camps and said, hey, what's up? Do you want to add a little wrinkle to your deal here? Because I can also, and then I was a kicking coach for nearly a decade in college, and I have multiple All-Americans under my belt, like, as a coach, right? And I don't necessarily like that idea. All I did is I took their natural talent and kind of pointed in the right direction. So I don't like when coaches say, "Oh, I coach so many All-Americans." Now, if the dude was a scrub and he became an All-American under your tutelage, cool. But you're probably not the dude that needs to get out there and say that, other than a resume point, right?
I don't want you to come to me and be like, "Yeah, I coached Trevor Lawrence."
Yeah, like
did you though?
you know JJ Watt? Yeah, like, he was my DE in like his senior year of college. But no, for real. The thing is that, like, I reached out to these camps, and we're talking guys. Special teams, I think I'm one of the few guys out there that has tried to tap into this market. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm stepping on, and I wish more people, I started doing it because I don't want to win the battle of special teams by default, right? Like, I want to actually win or lose special teams each game.
It makes a big difference too.
You got better, man. I've done my calling, but and so, like, I've reached out to these cats, running these various camps and stuff, and I'm like, hey, we can do a long snapping session, we can do a kicking session, I can work with your holders. Like, what do you need? I'm there. Like, you don't even have to pay me. I'm just gonna go and like, these cats are like, well, you would have to, like, finance part of the camp. And it's like, man, like, what's going on here? That's
another part of it, is like, just jumping in specifically, like what you're talking about with the camp situation, is that the best way, and I feel like everyone understands this, the best way to really grow the sport of football is to, have more opportunities where it's more clinically driven, where you can learn the technique, the different aspects of the game in a controlled environment without necessarily game preparation or the next week coming, like, barreling down. The off season, the off season schedule and what you do. One thing that's really overlooked is special teams, but then it shows up in the game. A couple of years ago, we had 2 or 3 GFL championships decided by
the German Bowl. Actually, when I started this, the German Bowl for, I think, I don't know about 19, right?
Yeah, I think it was 17, 18.
3, excluding 19, the last 3 prior to that came down. The German Bowl was decided by a field goal, either a missed field goal or a made field goal. I was with the season before I started 3D football. I got hired as a special teams coordinator in Europe, which is like, that's it. I was DB coach and special teams coordinator. And so anyways, we were playing, I was with the newly promoted team to the first division, or however top league, whatever whatever each country calls it, Division 1, or there's some other term for it, but we were in the top level in the country, and we were playing a semifinalist from the year before who was on the upswing too. They had just kind of broken into the ranks, and they were on the upswing to winning a couple national championships over the few years. We went into that game expecting like the people that know, the guy. I always use a quote from Roosevelt about the man in the arena, right?
Yeah.
So these dudes that aren't in the arena know that we're just going to get destroyed. We're like 3 touchdown game. We wound up beating them by 3 points because there was so much hype around special teams with our team that they actually took time away from offense and defense to work on the various wrinkles we had on those systems to solely concentrate on special teams.
Yeah, you have to if it's that important. If you make it something that's important to them.
But that's the thing is, and I think you talk about how the community, right? Mm-hmm. We can do more together, but nobody wants to. But that's why I told you I got into coaching, because it's a chance to teach young men life lessons, right? Yeah. And the thing is, I use special teams. I'll go talk to my OC or DC if I'm just a special teams coordinator, and they'll be like, I'll be like, look, we need like 5 extra minutes on special teams. And in Europe, 5 extra minutes, that's
a lot of time.
This isn't like where you practice 5 days a week and you're asking for 5 extra minutes.
Yeah.
I'm asking for 5 extra minutes out of 4 hours total. And they're already upset that they have to give me, 40 minutes normally. And, but that's the thing I always explain to them. I'm like, look, if we are better on this, I'm either going to save your ass. Like my special teams are either going to say, I'm talking coordinator, right? At the end of the day, it's the players on the field. But as coordinators, we got to get them right to get them out of there. So either special teams are going to come through and save your ass because something happened along the way on offense or defense, or if teams are so worried about our special teams, they're not going to have as much time. So you're actually making an investment in yourself. And I think that's the big thing people miss is your success or failure doesn't necessarily affect my success or failure. But if we're working together, we can both be more successful.
There you go. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Just getting back to more like the general thing, like what you were saying, because I like to go that route. So I'm going to shift gears. Like I said, this conversation is just going to flow what's coming out of my mind. And with the society, we could do more together, but nobody wants that. I'm thinking of even just supporting people. Again, obviously we're going to use who we have here. You have 3D football. Me and you have done different things together. I've done what I could to help, give you promotion for your company. But also, there's guys out here with clothing lines. I'm not going to put in specifics, but there was a guy who he had some shirts and hoodies or something, and I knew the guy. So I was like, hey, I'm ordering it. And I didn't ask for a discount or can I get it for free? I sent the dude $60 and he shipped the stuff to me. It got lost, actually ended up leaving the country, and I actually didn't get the stuff. But also, it came, I think I was in the States when I ordered it, and then I ended up leaving and it went to the States, and by the time I figured out it went to the wrong place, it had returned to him. And I was like, you know what? I just donated $60 to somebody that I believe in. It's not a problem.
And that's the point. If you're willing, like obviously if there's I've had some underdealing, what's the word I'm looking for? I've had some bad dealings with with import companies. And, if someone's doing you wrong, that's a different story, right? But at the end of the day, if you're trying to help somebody out, like stuff happens. I can't hold it against you. Stuff happens, right? If I'm genuinely rooting for you. You don't ship me the product in enough time for me to get it in the appropriate amount of time, then that's kind of on you. But if you ship it and it gets the checks in the mail type deal.
The shipping and stuff wasn't really, right. We might be missing the actual point. The point was that it was someone that I knew and I was surprised.
No, I feel you on that. And I always try and reach out and get every time a team talks to me, right, if I'm involved with the leadership, which I try to stay out of, because at the end of the day, I am an import. Yeah. And at some point I am going to leave this team, and you guys got to function on your own. I can give you advice and help, where you need it. But like at the end of the day, I'm not going to insert myself in there. If you ask me, I'm here. Yeah. Right. But so the few times I've been asked, I always try and give, like for uniforms or sweatsuits or whatever, always try and give people I know. Right.
And the thing is you have to try to, we have to realize, I mean, as a society, it doesn't really matter, because this translates to almost anything you're doing. Whenever you do something with other people, that's a connection you make. And if you keep it, you'll have more options down the road. But if you don't keep it, like say you coach with someone, but y'all don't really hang out outside of it, and then later that coach asks you to do him a favor, and you're like, how much is it going to cost me? Like, that's the first thing you answer.
Yeah.
You're probably going to lose that bridge. Different than if you say, what is the job, or what do you want me to do? And then if it's something that you feel like you should be compensated for, you ask for that. When people ask me to do something, I never, and I don't know why I'm going this route, I never ask how much I'm getting paid for it. I ask, what do they want me to do? Let me know what you want me to do, and then I'll decide if I think compensation is something you want me to do. Which, let me put a shameless plug out there.
I can vouch for that, because you've done that for 3D football twice.
Yeah, let me put a shameless plug out there. If you're listening, Perfect Purpose, I do podcasts, interviews. I write stories about football players as well as games, recaps. I will go to games and do media for you if that's what you want. Just hit me up and we'll work out specifics. Even like right now, I go to Sweden every year, like 2 or 3 times, and I do a little bit of media work for Stockholm Meme Machines, and we have a deal set up with, compensation that is not really financially based. Obviously, I'm not telling people my business on here, but it's one of those situations where what they supply me and what I supply them works for both of us, and it doesn't put either one of us, in a bind. And I've done that for multiple different teams.
You bring up a point that I was taught I've told you on a couple of occasions, like I was really blessed to have the import community that I've had, like imports that I've had throughout my career.
Yeah.
I've had some really, really great imports. I'm not talking like these dudes like were one step away from the NFL. No, I'm talking like they were just good imports. Mm-hmm. On the field, off the field, the business side.
High character men,
and they know the business of being an import. Because it's not, if you can't, like you talked about coaches, if you ain't hanging out off the field, like, do we have that connection? Because you don't really know me, right?
Yeah, I can't ask you to help me out if I don't really know you.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like, when I'm talking about being an import, I'm talking about, even though you're not really the going out type dude, you have to go to that team party.
Yeah.
Because these dudes are paying to play, most of them, and you're getting paid. So, but if they're paying to play, they're basically in a fraternity, for lack of a better way. And let's be real about it. How many Qs are not gonna? How are they gonna have good standing if they're not out on the yard with the boys? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I've never heard anyone put it like, I mean, I've heard about fraternities, but the way that you said it, it just hit right that, being a player is similar to being in a fraternity. And I mean, in college as well, people get those confused
too. You're paying to play, man.
Yeah.
Why? Look, my average player, quote unquote average player, right? Or standard player, stereotypical player, whatever word you want to use, I'm talking domestic here. He's getting grief from his wife or girlfriend or whatever. If he's in college, he's still dealing with all the same struggles that student athletes in the U.S. have to deal with. Obviously, less practice. I feel you there, but longer commute to practice. He can't just put his books in the locker and then head out to the field.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, he's paying to play. So he's getting all this grief. So what is the only reason he's doing it? Let's be honest about it. To some degree, it's the love of football, but where did that start? That didn't start from day one.
No.
That started over time.
It has to be like the teammates, right?
It's because of they're hanging out with the brotherhood and like their friends, the fraternity, if you will, in quotes. Mm-hmm. And so these cats, like these imports got to come over and and be an addition to that fraternity in addition to what they're doing on the field. If they want to have longevity. Yeah, you may get through that season, right? But this brings up 2 points. The reason I was going down this route, we talked about the company, your sweatshirt company. I've dealt with some uniform companies and some clothing companies. And the thing is, the one piece of advice, my very first running back that I had in Europe, he's like, look, dude, if you ever are not loyal to an import, you're going to struggle. You will not get jobs. You will not but if you tie your leg to their anchor, you're done. And that's the thing. You got to balance. That's one thing. You got to balance. Yeah, I'm willing to put in a little work for you.
Yes.
I'm not going to steal yours.
There you go. That's it.
And so I'm going to give you, like my dad used to tell me, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself or pull yourself up. Choice is yours. And so sense. You can be loyal, but don't go down. Don't go down with people either. And I think that's where society's gotten away from it, is because, on one hand, me helping you get your ship right is going to cause some undue strain on myself.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Right.
And
like, based on
depends on what you're doing.
But if you're on the Titanic and I pull in my ship to try and save your ship, my ship's going down too. So I think we've gone too far with, I'm trying to help you out and it's going to cause a little inconvenience to me or discomfort or whatever the appropriate word would be, to oh no, this doesn't fit in my plan, so your ship can sink. And it's
yes, that's it. You're saying it perfect, Gavin. That's it. Just to piggyback on there, what's super confusing to me, and again, I'm just thinking about what I see guys do, and especially imports, is we all know there's not a lot of money in playing football overseas. So you have to do something.
Or in coaching either.
Or in coaching. Yeah. Import lifestyle at all. But so obviously everyone has, they're doing something or trying to work some way. Once guys hit 3 years in Europe, they're trying to figure out a way to actually make money. And that's cool. But what is super confusing is if you're doing something and you need help, you ask for it. But if you're doing something and someone else needs help, you're like, well, it's not in my plan, or I think I can do it better. That's what really pisses me off. And now I'm finna go on a tangent and I'm finna put some information out in the world, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But, if someone starts something, and something that's touching my heart right now is guy we all know. Damn, I don't know if I want to put his name out there. No, forget it. I'm going to do it anyways. There's a coach out there in Europe named Emmanuel Lewis. And he has his 7 versus 7 circuit going on. And I remember him talking to me about, do I know any teams that wanted to play? And I was like, I could put together a tournament, a team for you. I could help it out. And I jumped all in. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. And I remember someone came to me and they're like, why don't you do the 7-on-7 for yourself and do it this way and that way instead of the way that he wants it done? I'm like, it's not my thing. Yeah. It's not my thing. And they're like, yeah, but you could do it better. I was like, why would I do that? Why would I take someone else's idea?
Here's why people expect you. I'm not saying I agree. We're eye to eye here, but I'm going to tell you why. Okay, why people would think like that? Why they would say? Why that is a common statement. It doesn't surprise me that you heard that. It surprises me that you didn't say everybody said it to you. Literally, that's a society we live in, right?
Yeah. True.
But here's the deal. Think about how many, quote unquote, chart topping singers there are out there that got their start on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Right. And when did they got their start on covers or adapting covers, a lot of them and stuff like that. Right. And the point I'm making is we live in a society now that values the right connection with someone else's idea.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Maybe I said that wrong. That's
no, I get what you're saying. You're saying that
we've
me over him. That's what you're saying. They're saying I should do it instead of this person.
I gotta get mine.
And here's my issue is that with something like this, and again, I don't want to talk too much about this and put, someone else's name that can't be speaking on the subject. But if we were to go back and just say, I'm helping someone with what they're doing and I'm doing a pretty good job, but instead of me saying, oh, I kind of like this, I'm going to do it myself, I actually give feedback to him and say, this is what some people said. This is what some people said that you could do to improve. This is what I'm going to do to improve. And we can both improve together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue on this tangent because I actually talked to him a couple days ago and I really want to put this out there. It's like we had a mutual friend who was also involved in this, 7 versus 7 type of circuit out here in Europe, which is basically unknown to the world, but we're trying to get it started. Now I say we, because now I'm in it. So I'm helping, but I'm not in charge of, the whole thing. But there was another guy who was at one point involved, and then he actually decided to try to do what we're supposed to do by himself. Like instead
here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is why
that's what pisses me off. I want to go and slap this dude. That's why I'm on the podcast. I want to go slap
as
him.
A coach. I'm with you. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in karma, just in life. Right now, as a coach, as long as I don't have you on my upcoming schedule, okay, I always invite you. If I have if I'm the head coach, obviously I have the final say so. But if I'm the DC, I'll talk to my head coach. If I'm the special teams coordinator, I'll talk to my head coach and let him talk to the OC and DC. But at the end of the day, my thing is, if you want to come observe my practice, have at it. If I get somebody interested in special teams and they want to work with me, I'm not saying consult with 3D football. I'm saying literally work with me with 3D football, and then they go out and start out their own business, basically using my stuff.
That's the shit that pisses me off.
You know what? It doesn't bother me for real, because you got to remember, now I have a different philosophy in life. I'm a firm believer in the cream rising to the top, right? Struggles don't make the man; they show the man. Right. I'm trying to use a cliche, but I'm messing it all up, and I know that. But it's not, we aren't defined by our adversity. It demonstrates who we are, right? And so if I'm as good as I think I am at special teams, and somebody's working with me on 3D football and then starts their own business, I'm gonna do better than them. Like the old, the student has become the teacher. No, that's not the thing. And I don't keep any of my things secret, but I'm the one thinking.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Is I understand competition, and I'm not saying that be afraid of competition. But
no, I didn't take it that way. But I'm saying something's gonna, because first off, I'm the first one that I know of, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody else that's been involved in it before. I'm the first one concentrating on the special teams in Europe in this manner. So sure. I'll always be the first.
Well, that's also, you're 100% right. When this happens, when someone ever does copy someone's idea or something, usually what happens is the one that copied doesn't do it as well as the original, or they're not ready to scale it the way that it should be grown or make it exponentially better. But the issue that I have more than anything is that the time that other person wasted by, taking an idea and trying to do it themselves, if they would put that energy into joining forces, you're looking at something that could become both financially lucrative as well as culturally changing. But instead of doing that, we all want to do our own thing. So it could be financially lucrative and even culturally changing for these companies, these people, whoever, to do it together. But instead, everyone wants to do their own shit separately. And it really just pisses me off, because I'm one of those guys that people have asked me to do things that aren't in my wheelhouse. And I've been like, okay, I like it. It's cool. I'll help out, but I'm not going to try to run with it. I've had people give me, first of all, some of you guys who are listening, you're probably the people that have done this before. Send me a message. You should do this. You should do that. Yeah. And then don't follow up with, I can help you do this, or I can help you do that. Just tell me I should do something that they think will be cool, and I should put in all the work to do this random thing that they think that I'll be good at.
And then give them credit. Oh, if you don't give them credit.
And then they're going to be like, I'm the one who told you to do that. Remember? Man, if y'all get out of here.
That's like I hit you up. Remember when I hit you up about helping me out, every time I'm like, how you want to do this? What's the format that works for you? Because we're going outside of my format, right? But because my format is the actual X's and O's aspect, we'll say, and also the ability or the technique style stuff.
Yeah.
But the putting it out there, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I haven't been on social media with my business for about a month. I'm going to blame it on Christmas. We're going to say it was Christmas because getting ready.
Social media is different too, though. Like there's a lot of different.
But that's your realm. That's your realm. I mean, you got your podcast. You got, to me, right? That's all tied in. The getting through a digital format, getting the information out there, right? That's all tied in, right? Like I can do a playbook and then just put it on the Facebook group for the team or whatever, however it is, email it to the team I'm working with, whatever. So like to me, that's not what I'm talking, but like getting the content out there, like content creation, right?
Yeah.
That's you. Like my content creation is literally X's and O's on a chalk. Yours is talking about how those X's and O's wind up on the chalkboard. If you feel what I'm saying, right? I'm like,
and I agree with you 100%.
I'm trying to go Occam's razor on the explanation, not trying to like minimize what we do.
I get 100% what you're saying. You know, like everyone is good at what they do. And that's another thing is that if you know someone who's good at something and you want them to help you, it's a lot easier for them to help you if they feel like you're wanting them to also be invested. I don't know how to say this the right way. Like,
you said, hold on, like, put it like this. Let's talk about our exchanges with 3D football and Perfect Purpose, right?
Okay.
Like, so every time I've talked to you, right? First off, the first thing is outside of the content on your platform, right? Like the interview or various other things that this or what, like I haven't said, I'm like, I've reached out to you because I don't know this, right? It's not my thing. I'd rather I play my little Angry Birds or whatever and then call it a day, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
So the content creation is not my thing. That's your strong suit. And I'm coming to you saying, hey, I got this idea. I think it's a good idea. I think it's needed. And you got the method to distribute the message to the masses. So within the realms of your stuff, how do I get my stuff out there? And do you agree with my stuff? Like I think there's a balancing act that people aren't understanding.
Yes, I was gonna jump and say that exactly thing is that the balance is that, you know, when you message me, it's more of a let's work together, brainstorm how we can do this together, and it's beneficial for both of us. And then on my side, I think this is something that a lot of people don't understand when you're dealing with, you know, media, social media, and the different avenues that you can go is that it also has to be something that benefits me. And then you gotta like, so what's my motivation, especially as Perfect Purpose? Like, what is my motivation?
You get my undying devotion. That's what you get from me.
Think about it. I'm not anyone in the world that you would consider, you know, famous or influencer or anything like that. Like, I don't consider myself that way, but I do believe that I have a voice that is listened to by a certain community, and I understand that community, which means if my community that I'm a part of is the audience that you want to reach, I can tell you how to reach them. And for me, that's the benefit, is providing that information. I'm not here to get rich in Europe. Like, let me say this again so people will know, you know, I moved to Europe. I didn't stay in Europe. I moved to Europe. And I'm a resident of Finland. So if I was to stop doing any of this today, I would still be fine in Finland. I don't have to do football. Like that's why I'm able to.
I think that's what well, that gets on a different thing, but yeah, we're in the same boat. Like I'm over here. I turn down college offers. I think, not counting pandemic year, let's exclude that. Like I think everybody should have a mulligan on pandemic year.
Yeah, true.
Right. I've been in Europe, like I told you before. I've been here since the off season, so the fall of 2013, going into the season of 2014. So I've been here almost 10 years, plus minus, and every year except for one, excluding 2021 because of the travel. Nobody knew what was going on during the recruiting phase of the travel restriction. Oh no, sorry, 2020. Yeah, 2020 college season.
Yeah.
Excluding that, I've been offered a job in a U.S. college every year except for one.
Yeah. So
I've
you choose.
Because I'm here. Like I'm living in Europe. I'm not Like, it's not that I'm just doing this because I couldn't get a job back there sort of thing, or I couldn't I'm just here for vacation sort of idea. No disrespect to any imports that are doing their time and then going back. Like, I don't mean disrespect like that, right? And I think this ties into the broader subject. That little point is like, it's not, we don't live in a binary world a lot of times, right? You either won or you didn't win. Okay, that's a binary situation, right? But like, just because you're over here doesn't mean you can't get something back there. It means you want something else, right? Yeah. I have a lot of good friends. I'm not going to put his name out there. There's a dude, he's retired. Every team he's ever, and I know you know his name and I'll tell you later, but every team he's ever worked for loves this guy.
Yeah.
And he continues to get offers in the U.S. that he turns down. Like, even though he does the back and forth, he's like, I'm retired. I just want to enjoy my life, right? But I think too many people think in the binary. If I'm doing this, I'm not doing that. So like with you, same with you, I don't need football. Like, literally, I was going through some stuff with the current team I'm with that I've been with for the last couple of years. And I was sitting there thinking, maybe I just walk away. I got a 1-year-old son, maybe I just walk away from it all and I help where people need. I decided against that, just for the record. It's not out there publicly yet, but I decided against that. But like, that was the thing. Cause like you, I don't need it. I do it because it's a passion.
Yeah.
It's we'll say a lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle choice. That's perfect right there. It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, it's it's something I care about, and I care about trying to fix literally what we're talking about. Like,
yeah. That reminds me that, because we're going to try to wrap up in like 10, 15 minutes. But, I'm listening to us. I'm doing my own feedback as we're talking. I don't want this to come across as, oh, we're just bashing, what's going on and stuff. So let's talk solutions. First off, one thing that I think we have to do, broader sense, obviously we want to help each other and be more together, but I think what can be done very simply is be open-minded to losing a little bit to gain a lot. And when I say that, I mean, yeah, maybe you might lose a little bit of your own time to help someone out for free. And I know money is always an issue, but say you help someone out for free once, 3 or 4 years later, you need a favor. They're willing to give it to you because you've done that. And it doesn't always have to be a tit for tat. It doesn't have to be you do something for me, now I'm gonna do something. Maybe you're just doing something nice for somebody.
You got your boys, that I'm sure you owe $20 to, or they owe you $20, and nobody knows. Because
I'm gonna put this out there. One of my very, very good friends, here in the States, he still owes me $275, and I'm not gonna ever leave that tab. But we still hang out and we're cool. But I still want my money.
But I was saying a different way.
I will not do stuff for them because of it. Yeah. Like, we're not gonna.
But you go to go what you were saying with, right? I have a bunch of buddies out there through my various stages of life, through college, through the military, through just being back home, like through being imports, where like, man, we're going out tonight. I'm a little tight because payday's in a couple of days, and I have this unexpected bill in between paydays. He's like, yeah, I got you, man. We're drinking on my tab tonight. Yeah. Then the next time we go out, and nobody remembers how much that tab was, not because we got so drunk, just because nobody cares. And also got so drunk. Like both.
Yeah, you don't keep a tab.
Even if we were drinking soda all night, nobody would really care, right? And then the next time we go out, he's like, man, I just had this big issue. I had to get my car fixed because the muffler went out. Like, can you spot me tonight? And it's like, yeah, it's cool. I got you. No big deal. We're not counting pennies about it. It's like, maybe when I needed him to float me, my portion of the bar tab was 50. And when we went out to float him, like when he needed me to float him, his portion of the bar tab was 30, right? So at the end of the day, I owe him 20, but we don't even think about that. You got me when I needed you.
And I got you when you needed me. That's it. That's exactly it. And I guess another part of that would be, it's easy when, like you said, it's your boys, and deciding who your boys is what I'm really trying to get at, is that you got to look at people and say, if this person,
everybody, till you do me wrong, you are someone Now, I'm not going to trust you. No, you gotta reel in your cost benefit analysis a little bit.
Yeah.
But you need a little help. Like put it like this. I worked with the high school coach in the US with 3D football. We worked with the high school coach for basically half the season. Mm-hmm. He posted in one of these Facebook groups, like totally unrelated. It was like either an offense or defensive group. And he's like, man, my kickoff. And then I see these OCs and DCs posting these comments. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not the question he asked at all. And I could tell that you know what mesh is or cover 2 is, but you don't know kickoff coverage lanes. So, like, let's just talk. Yeah. Right? So I told him to hit me up. And I worked with them literally kind of pro bono. Well, no, like 100% pro bono. I didn't even put his school on the website, right? Just because, like, I want to help. That's the thing. I want to help. Let's make special teams better, right?
Yeah.
And that's the deal. And if I can help a coach along the way, I'm gonna help him.
That might be the difference between him keeping or losing his job at some point as well. Like, that's the type of connection in the community of football or the world that we want to have. We want to foster that. And that brings me to another way that we can, work together is when people have ideas, they have ideas and then they keep it to themselves. They try to incubate it themselves. And instead of reaching out to someone because they're afraid that someone's going to steal their idea.
Yeah.
And that makes 100% sense. But let's just be honest.
That's the world we live in. I'm not going to say that's a delusional thought.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But let's also be honest that the difference between anything failing and being successful is how much passion and effort someone puts into it. And if it's your idea and you're passionate about it, someone can take your idea. But like we said this earlier when we were talking, is they can take it, but it's not going to be better. So open up, talk to people. One thing I like to do I do a lot of free consulting. Honestly, I do because I enjoy talking, because when people talk to me about their ideas, it opens up my creativity about my own ideas. And if you want help from me, I'm going to obviously want the same thing from you, and we can both get better at whatever we're doing. You want to start a podcast. I have podcast experience, but I want to know about the subject matter that you're talking about. I want to know more because I'm doing something that's related to that. So we exchange ideas. That's fine. I think that's how you grow and get better. We don't have a platform. There needs to be somewhere where people with similar ideas, especially in the football community in Europe, where we can talk openly without feeling the fact that everyone we're talking to is also our competition. And I mean, I don't feel like anyone's my competition.
And here's where it gets hard, because I agree with you, right? Like I'm fully look, if there's somebody that wants to come and work with me with 3D football, I'm going to bring them in, and then they're going to steal all my stuff. The problem is I come up with playbooks. That's one of the biggest things we do is playbook and installation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I come up with playbooks. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I think in special teams more so than offense and defense. There's only like pretty much anything that defense can do is out there already. You can add a little wrinkle here or there, but it's out there already, right?
Yeah.
Special teams, I think, is kind of uncharted territory in that regard. I could come out with a brand new kick formation tomorrow.
But that would be, for the terms of what you're talking about, because you're so specific about the football. For you, I wouldn't think of like someone. First of all, no one. Let me finish this
go ahead
real quick. Like no one can come in and take your thoughts and think how you think. But let's say the way that you package your playbooks or the way that you deliver it, like online or something. There's someone out here who's involved in football who probably could streamline how you deliver it to your clients. And that would make you more money and also get them more invested in your business. And they wouldn't actually know anything about your actual playbooks. They would just be able to streamline the information being sent. Well, and that's something that can help both of you.
I'll put his name out there because I'm a firm believer. You praise in public and criticize in private, right? So this is definitely 100% praise. But Micah Brown,
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to him later today. Like, just
all right, yeah. Well, tell him I put his name out there in a good way, because that dude's like, we weren't on the same. We had a really weird situation. He was with Gardenia Seahawks. I was with Sopot Seahawks. We practiced at the same time. It was kind of, we'll say, admin stuff going on at that time. But me and him kind of connected, and we've been in not quite Facebook friends zone, but also like we haven't gone further, but I'll reach out to him in a heartbeat. And when he started his, it went back to the States and started coaching in college, or sorry, Canada,
yeah.
Sorry, the attic of the States.
Yeah.
But when he went back to the new world, quote unquote, and started coaching, like we got in a lot more contact than we did while we were both over here. And, you know, one of the things he started, he made me think of because we were talking about 3D football, and he started, so what's your breakdowns? Do you break down this? And I have very specific breakdowns I do. I'm an analytical guy. Like, I'm a very, like Moneyball type idea.
Yeah.
Right. I will be the first to tell you, I'm really good at coaching defensive players, and I'm good with coming up with the X's and O's of defense. Right. When it comes to the game, I'm not saying I'm really good. I'm not bragging there. I'm saying I'm not a turd, is what I'm saying there. But when it comes to the game plan, right, the reason I feel that I've survived, and even to some regards outkicked my coverage as a DC, is because of the analytics. So I value analytics. I had some run-ins with OCs when I was a head coach about not doing their analytics. And I'm like, no, you got to run reports. And it's like, no, we're good. We do our thing. No, you need to know, are you more than likely getting a blitz on this play? Are you more than likely getting cover 3, and so usually my DCs that I've had have been promoted. They were my position coaches, and then so they understood how I work. That's why I say OCs, not because OC or D, but they worked on it maybe. So anyways, I was talking to Micah, and he's like, what are your breakdowns? And I have some specific breakdowns on special teams that I do. I can tell you where they're going to kick the ball 95%, not 95% of the time, but the standard breakdowns you get, right? Like, and in teams in Europe especially, they're going to kick the ball there 95% of the times, or they're not calling where the kick goes, one or the other.
Yeah.
And so Micah's like, well, what about this? Do you do this? Do you do this? Is this your breakdown? Is this your breakdown? And I'm like, you know what? No, but it is now.
Yeah.
Almost added that one, right? And so, like, and that's what you get. Like, this is what people don't understand. Everybody wants to be the best at the cost of everyone else. But that's not how you become the best. You become the best you become the best version of yourself in whatever endeavor you're doing by harnessing the power or the knowledge, better than power, harnessing the knowledge of the people you have in your network. Because here's the thing. Right? I've had several coaches come to me and go, I just don't understand this special team, talking about special teams. And it's like, okay, for me, it's really easy. I see it. It makes sense in my head, right? But then if I convert it to offensive knowledge or defensive knowledge based on what that cat is, right? What that coach is, they start to understand it. And a lot of times I do that kind of like pro bono, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to help make you better because I like you. I obviously, if I'm talking to you, we got a good relationship. Right. Mm-hmm. So I want to make you have a better chance. And a couple things happen from that. First off, you're going to remember that you found that pearl of wisdom that saved the day for you from me. And now you're people to it. Right. So it is self-serving to a degree. Right? Like, I did it because I want to help this guy. But in the long run, this karma idea that I was talking about earlier, it's going to come back to me because he's going to be like, oh, crap, you're struggling with punt? Go hit up my boy. Right?
And that's the win-win part that we're trying to get to at all times.
And here's what people don't understand, especially if we're going into the coaching. I realize this gets kind of specific, right? It may not. Yeah, it might. Actually, it would apply to podcasts and stuff, but it's more about the coaching. I worked with that high school that I was talking about, right? I work with that high school, and he was sending me the video. I've had a problem based on what I do, right? I have no problem putting a middle return in on kickoff return for someone else.
Yeah.
But based on my philosophy of the teams I go with, I try and keep things as minimal moving parts as possible, because I realize special teams is in addition to what the dude has to learn on offense or defense, right? And usually I get the second or third string guys, and it's either because of the lack of ability or because of the lack of knowing the playbook. So either I have to compensate for the fact that these guys just can't physically do it or can't mentally do it. So I try and minimize the moving pieces on my various calls, right? And I was watching his film, and he got gashed on a middle return a couple times. And he sent me the film of the plays he got gashed on and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I came up with a new middle return for this upcoming season based on watching this. So not only is this coach that I didn't really know before, he was in a Facebook group we were together. I helped him out, like, just on my own time to kill my boredom, if you will.
That reminds me. That, because we're going to try to wrap up, but appreciate the listen. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time in the off season.
This is the off season.